Hey YouTube, I'm Kenneth Ryan.
And I'm Linz Urisa.
And we're back with another exciting episode of Fanfiction Friday. This episode is actually especially exciting because we finally have a viewer-suggested fic. The fic we are going to be reading for this week and many more is going to be Clockwork by KTX Replica, suggested by our lovely fan, Pokey Cookie. Thank you, Pokey Cookie. In this fic, there are two pairings. They are silver and gold and red and green. We are going to reprise our roles as red and green, respectively. Then she's going to be silver, and I'm going to be gold. And it's going to be a great time, because apparently this is 100 million times better than A Sad Secret.
And we're probably going to end up breaking up this fic. Do a couple weeks, and then have a fic in between.
Just because
it is 59 chapters and over 300,000 words long.
Yeah. But this is exciting.
But we're gonna do it.
Alright. And this starts with you.
Silver looked away angrily. He had only just wanted some peace and quiet. Why the fuck couldn't he have 5 goddamn minutes? 5 wasn't much to ask for. To take a moment to hate the world and its brightness.
Is he a scene kid?
Yes. Growling under his breath, he slugged out his cigarette.
Oh, he is a scene kid.
With a twist of venom-laced anger. God, he fucking hated Mondays.
Oh, never mind, he's Garfield.
They literally were a royal pain in his arse. He wasn't some
British.
Damn floozy on the street. He wasn't desperate like them. They had cooties.
He's a British Garfield.
Turning away from the pervert, he ran. It must be his hair. Only hookers had his kind of hair. Only hookers had his kind of hair. He wasn't a fucking whore, though. Why, oh fucking hell, why? Silver didn't care if he was running home or just taking the streets at random. One after the other. He just noted and took much pleasure in the burning, searing pain in his lungs. He twisted and turned through alleyways, round corners, and through crowded streets until he stopped, finally, in the city center. The burning in his chest was like cold fire searing through his being. He stumbled a little. Shit, when had he last eaten? When did I last eat? Perfect.
When have I last eaten?
I microwaved pizza last night, okay.
Okay.
Sitting down on the dotted, stained pavement, Silver pulled out a carton of cigarettes from his back pocket only to find it empty. He tutted and threw it carelessly into the road, watching as it got blown around, tumbling, until finally a car ran it over, squashing it. The person's grammar is a lot better than the first person's. But it's already...
Silver is such a scene kid and so angsty.
Well, I don't know. Silver watched it listlessly. I wonder if I could be that flat too if I was to be run over. Oh god, he's suicidal. He mused wearily as he watched the flattened box get run over and over again. He sighed and leant. I don't know.
Lent.
I never really know how to pronounce that word.
I'd say Lent, but that's just me.
His elbows on his knees. Would I be as pretty and red as roadkill? Or will I just be a blob?
Oh my god.
He stifled a little laugh. Of course I won't be pretty. That's a ridiculous thought. I'll be as hideous as that black spot of gum next to me. Standing, Silver cast his pale gaze across the street. Silver sighed. Life was so cookie-cut. As in it was so shaped and held no true meaning. He towed a flyaway plastic bag that rustled by. Do you ever feel like a plastic bag?
Do you ever feel like a plastic bag? I can't keep singing that song. I will get sued by the Katy of Perry.
She's not Taylor Swift, at least. Whoops, I messaged her name.
Ooh. S is for see you in court.
But cookies weren't important. But else he wished they were. They weren't. What?
I wish this boy liked cookies.
I don't want to grow up. It was such a childish thought, but Silver didn't care. It was true. He reached up slowly to the necklace around his throat. Simple. Silver.
S is for see you in court.
He fingered the pendant on the end, and he pulled it out to look at it.
Sorry.
A pocket watch. He smiled quietly at it. That is what he was. That was what humans all were. A piece of clockwork. Oh, title already. Wow, that's early. Wound up to face life, and when he thought his spring was just starting to grind to a halt, he was cruelly wound back up again. God, who knew Mother Nature was such a bitch? Silver chuckled mirthlessly. His daily angst was taking a new, unexpected turn today. He gripped the trinket tightly, imprinting its shape into his hand. It was comforting in that aspect, for it was solid and could leave a mark. Silver leant leant against the lamppost, feeling peaceful. He felt his eyes closing as he drifted off to sleep. Standing up, leaning against the lamppost. Okay. It was warm and sunny, and he enjoyed the peace of the buzzing city life around him.
This kid has
So
a
emotional.
few problems. Want to talk about it?
Yeah, get professional help.
Seriously. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm gonna let you
That's
keep
not
going.
even like a joke.
No,
If you feel like this, you probably should talk to someone.
Yes, please. Fanfiction Friday, getting real. See someone if you.
All these Pokemon fics with the deep issue.
Seriously.
Pokemon.
Pokemon's where we talk about the heavy shit. All right.
Buzzing city life around him. The redhead was actually surprised at the happy thoughts currently trickling into his head, but he felt peaceful here. Here he was just another person in the billions where no one could care less. In billions, who no one could care less about. Okay, I read that weird. He liked it better that way. It was better that way, actually.
Really?
He didn't like attention. He loathed it.
Couldn't have guessed that.
He didn't like humiliation either. Who does? I mean, some people have a kink for that, I guess.
Oh, yeah, that's a kink. I
Humiliation.
feel like we've read that kink, so
Yeah.
yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
It was something he seemed to experience every time someone even looked at him. It was clearly written across their faces, what they saw. What he saw in the reflection of shop windows or the liver-spotted mirrors of public bathrooms. A scrawny, small, insignificant, and unimpressive specimen of a human. He smiled. Nope, he was quite average in the sense that he could easily be forgotten amongst the thousands of other average citizens. The only aspect of him that a stranger would ever remember was his piercing steel silver eyes. And maybe his hair. Silver took much pride in his long, dark, fox red hair. It was the only part of him he actually liked. He didn't have much self-esteem. He couldn't even hold his own in a fight. He could, however, make people's life hell. He drifted further into his thoughts. Maybe today was a good time to stop the painful, vicious cycle for good. Okay, suicide.
Oh, buddy.
Is gold gonna stop him?
Please talk to someone, please.
Yeah. Depression.
Oh, God.
Trigger warning, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
Silver stood up. He felt so damn peaceful he could sing. But he wouldn't do that because singing involved drawing attention to himself. Yeah, he felt good right now. He took a step forward, then another, and another. Silver laughed, and a horn was blaring, screaming, shouting, swearing. Okay, he walked into the streets.
Oh, did he?
Silver closed his pale, misty gray eyes. Surprisingly, nothing hurt as much as it should have. What a total disappointment. Okay, I think he literally got hit by a car.
Oh, he did.
He could hear people whom he didn't even know crying and asking if he was okay. Silver called bullshit on it, as if they actually cared. They didn't even know him. They didn't care about him. They would forget about him, most certainly. That was a definite given.
You don't forget about the person who saw get hit by a fucking car. That shit, like, scars you.
Yeah. Easily, like a past that was always meant to be exterminated. Okay. He smiled softly, and there was a long-awaited pain. Silver cringed at how much it hurt. He vaguely heard something about a broken arm and bruised ribs and how lucky he was to be alive. Dang. He closed his eyes, willing the darkness crashing down on his consciousness to bleed to the rest of his body. Spare him the niceties.
Oh my god.
Line break.
Line break. Oh, at least there's fucking dialogue.
Yeah, that was just a lot of inner turmoil.
That was like hell on earth for this kid. Holy shit. Silver groaned. This better be the goddamn afterlife. He sat up He slowly sat up. He hissed. It was far too bright in the room for it to be the afterlife. Damn it. God fucking damn. Who is reading?
This is like a nurse or
Just a
doctor or
nurse?
something.
Okay.
Well,
Good morning, young man. That was quite a nasty accident. You're lucky to be alive.
fuck! Silver dropped his head mainly because it was tiring holding it up from the bed he currently occupied. That, and he needed to somehow physically voice his disappointment. Once again, it was another foiled attempt at achieving death. Okay, so he's a repeat offender.
Oh, by the way, I read with Oak, but it's definitely Joy.
Nice.
It's fine, I'll just change it later.
But damn, he felt good. Turning his head to look at the nurse, Silver screwed up his nose slightly. Her name read Joy on the name tag. Fucking lovely. Just who he needed. What a joy.
Oh.
He snickered at his own lame joke as he stared up at the hospital ceiling.
Oh my god.
hating every second of his existence as it trickled by. Silver smirked dryly at the nurse hovering over him. She was speechless. He raised an eyebrow. This was turning out to be rather fun. Mindfuckery was so much fun.
That's you.
I know. Can I help you?
I need to administer your painkiller, so it might hurt. Silver snorted.
Lady, I walked into a fucking car over here. Also, I'm sure you have also seen the scars on my wrist where I cut myself every night for a fortnight. Oh god, they are British. Fortnight.
This
That's
is
like
a
10
British.
days.
This definitely is a British
Author.
fanfiction.
Yeah.
So I guess my voice, it works.
Thus, I highly doubt that this is going to hurt. Theatrical as it was, Silver found being overdramatic amusing. Mainly, even if it was for his own... What?
His own what?
Joy was once again speechless. Silver didn't doubt he was probably one of the rudest patients she had ever had to deal with. Normally one would be thanking medical personnel for saving their life. He smiled inwardly, how cute and naive and sugar-scented it all was. God, he's such a cynic.
Seriously, this kid kind of is pissing me off. It's like, there is good things in this world, and you need to see them. I know depression makes it hard to see it sometimes, but that's what professionals are for. And
He has depression, yes, but he's also just an asshole.
that too. Like, don't be an asshole, kids. Fanfiction Friday tagline, don't be an asshole. And seek help.
Yeah. Silver made a small sound of disgust at his own thoughts and turned his head away from her. Try being the bitch of a multi-billionaire's gang. That's what pain is. Okay, he's also being raped or something.
Oh god, don't say that.
He's the bitch of someone's gang.
It's you again, still.
Well, what are you waiting for? The damn grass to grow? You don't want me in pain, no, do you? He snapped irritably. There was only so much stupidity he could take. Humans were so dumb sometimes. Oh, he hated being at the mercy of someone else. Silver scoffed. He wasn't at anyone's mercy. He just happened to be in a situation he didn't particularly like. The nurse mumbled an apology, fumbling with the syringe.
I'm sorry.
The silver-eyed teen sighed. Give it here. What?
And turned back to her. He held out his good hand. This was beginning to annoy him.
Oh.
Now you're lying.
Yeah, silver-teen-eyed sighed and turned back to her.
Now you're lying.
Okay, give it here.
But...
You can't even do your job properly. That really is such a shame. Give it to me.
But sir, you are not authorized.
Fuck authorization. I was gonna say the authoritism.
Fight the power.
Yeah. Ever heard of drug abuse?
Oh.
Oh god. Nurse Joy stared as the redhead injected himself with the powerful drug. Once he was done, he discarded the needle carelessly. It clattered to the floor. Silver slumped back against the pillow. He smiled lazily up at the lady with his silver eyes. He felt so fucking high already, like he could fly, only without wings. Yeah. Zoom. 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 This stuff is awesome.
I'll go fetch the doctor now that you are awake, sir, so please do not leave the room.
Jesus, woman, do I look like I can move? Don't bother. I don't need a doctor. Joy shook her head. She looked worried. Silver frowned. Was that pity he saw swimming in her brown eyes? It better not be. Snarling inwardly, Silver closed himself off from her. How annoying. She reached out to smooth the locks of dark red hair that had fallen into his face. Really? He's totally not open to this. Why is she touching him?
I need to fix your hair,
However,
sir.
she stopped when Silver flinched away. Oh, flinch.
Oh.
Glaring at her accusingly. Sighing softly, the woman backed off and turned toward the door. The red-haired male blew a small raspberry and gazed out of the window. It was a nice day outside.
You high as a kite, bitch.
That was good. Maybe everyone had forgotten about him. He was rudely pulled back to the other world by Joy, who bustled round straightening his medication on the bedside cabinet and dusting surfaces. Why are they just leaving medication sitting on the cabinet?
It's a British thing.
He's gonna commit suicide.
Seriously.
And dusting surfaces. Silver gave her a withering look, and the nurse smiled encouragingly.
No, he must see you. You can only come out of critical... Wait. No, he must see you. You only came out of critical condition a few hours ago. We have also arranged for you to meet a counselor on a frequent basis.
Good.
Silver gave her his best, are you fucking kidding me look. She smiled at him amicably? Obviously pitying him now, and Silver hated it. It was just, well, she was too smiley. Seriously, did this woman only have one expression? Our counselors are kind and knowledgeable. They are excellent at breaking down both the physical and mental states of their patients. They can help you get better, sir.
Right. Could they tell me just by looking at my face if I've sucked dick or not?
Oh.
Silver retorted. His initial high was wearing off, and his patience was growing thin. Mercifully, that single statement was enough for the nurse, who turned bright red and bolted from the room. Silver chuckled softly and smiled to himself, or more like a grimace of pain. How disgusting.
My name is Crystal. Well, it's actually Lyra. Lyra with a long ah at the end, so it's Lyra. But honestly, Crystal is so much cuter. So, darling, what's yours? Silver raised an eyebrow and indicated to his name tag he wore. Was this woman high? As in, medically diagnosed as permanently high? Her hair was a strange, unnatural, peppy shade of turquoise, styled with probably enough hairspray to burn a massive hole in the ozone layer, and her personality was just as nauseating. Thank God she hadn't gone with the herd mentality yet and done any bodily enhancements due to plastic surgery. Crystal giggled and pushed up her glasses.
Is Crystal Gold's sister?
I think so.
From Red vs.
Yes. Silver knew the expression plastered across his face was revulsion. The bouncy turquoise-haired woman didn't seem to notice, though. Oh well. He did try his best. Someone totally needed to take the Ritalin. Ritalin?
Ritalin.
Oh, Ritalin?
Ritalin?
Ritalin? Oh, Ritalin. It's Ritalin.
Yeah, Mike, how do you pronounce that word?
Ritalin? More like tranquilizers. Oopsie! My mistake. Well then, Silver. Giovanni. Oh, what a lovely romantic
Giovanni.
name you have. Does your mother read Shakespeare? I love Shakespeare. It's always so romantic. I mean, Romeo and Juliet is the ultimate love.
Oh, God.
I just adore their relationship. Oh, the power of love is so wonderful. It's so wonderful. And the old English, thy and thou and all that jazz. It sends tingles running through me. Oh, have you read Macbeth? Morbid, yes. But, ooh, it's scary, isn't it? I mean, to think that someone would go to such lengths. Oh, old literature, my favorite. It's always been so romantic. Seriously, was this woman for real? Silver didn't know, so he stared blankly at the woman who fiddled with her pen, I almost said pan, happily as she awaited his response. After a moment of silence, Silver responded only after inching away from her as she invaded his personal space, carting her fingers through his long, dark, fox-red hair.
Why do people keep touching his hair?
But your hair is so soft and silky, and it's gorgeous! Mine isn't as nice as yours, though. I really wish it was. You know, maybe it's because I dye mine too much and yours is all natural. Oh, I'm so jealous. What hair products do you use? I mean, I use L'Oreal because the ad, you're worth it. Yeah, that's why. Hey, Silva, do you think I'm worth it? Do I look good enough with turquoise hair? I mean, I was going to re-dye it a chestnut color once it faded, but do you think it looks good on me? It's okay to be totally honest. Silver cut her rambling short. You.
Why is he saying that?
Just 'cause, I don't know.
She reads the Karma Sutra, if that's what you mean.
Oh. Well then. So, honey, have you been feeling angry or lost lately? Silver stared at the brunette. Ha! Lyra Crystal, some more. She beamed back at him, obviously. Obviously she had had several cups of coffee this morning, each with at least 3 sugars. No one, Silver swore mentally, absolutely no one can be this annoyingly happy in the mornings. It was inhuman.
You sound like a stupid online advertisement.
Really? I thought that it was so in with teenagers at the moment. You know, that kind of stuff being all the rage. It's like lolcats, right? Silver did not even bother answering. He was wasting his time on this bimbo. She was nice enough, but God was she stupid. Not even worth his time. They said he needed a counselor, not some starry-eyed literature junkie. Silver let out the breath that he had been holding, blowing his fringe out of his eyes. God, he was bored. He needed to do something that would benefit him, like a nice, sharp knife.
Oh, God.
Then he could cut himself till he passed out again. Then he wouldn't have to listen to Lyra, no, Crystal's useless yakking. Slumping back in his chair, he toed the edge of the frayed rug, sulking. Her voice, irritatingly loud and bright, cut through his foggy mind. For goodness sake, why couldn't he be left alone? Silver grumbled, glowering at her from under the fringe of his red hair that blazed across his right eye. It wasn't much to ask for. Really, humans just loved to stick their noses where it was unwanted sometimes. It made Silver want to attempt voodoo. Why? Voodoo. Because he had the sudden murderous urge to stab pathetically innocent dolls with pins, preferably ones with turquoise hair. As I was saying, since when have you been feeling depressed, Silver?
Since I was born, Silver replied dryly, wondering that if he just answered all her questions quickly, she would leave him alone in peace, where he could continue to ponder over the sad existence of the world and its contents.
Come on now, darling. No one is depressed when they are born.
Yes, they are. Why are babies born crying, then?
Ellipsis. Silver smirked again. Crystal squealed. Oh, you're so adorable!
What? Isn't this going to get you fired? Not that I fucking care, anyway. That's your problem.
You're so cold and cool! It's like a dream come true, the dark, silent type. Oh, this is giving me so many ideas for my original fanfiction I'm writing. Would you like to hear some?
Not fanfiction, but yeah, same thing. Ellipsis.
Oh, I'm teasing you, honey. I'm married. Silver curled his lips at her incredulously. She looked so earnest he wanted to vomit. Rolling his eyes, the steel-eyed teen shrugged. She giggled. Giggled! Silver was seriously contemplating making a break for it, as his sanity was probably in danger of being overexposed to such obnoxious, as his father called it, frivolous frivolities, or something dumb like that. He scratched his neck a little and stretched his neck a little and looked down at his broken arm in its sling.
It's broken. I pity him.
Crystal halted mid-giggle.
I
sorry.
I talked.
I'm sorry.
You did it this time, huh?
I'm an asshole.
Anyways, I pity him. Crystal halted mid-giggle to stamp her foot in mock rage. Silver looked down his nose at her. She was so childish, it hurt to look at her properly. Combined with the bright, fizzy, fake hairdo, she waved her hand in his face and he scowled. He loves me! Anyway, let's not talk about my hubby now, shall we? And talk about what?
Why, talk about you, of course, honey.
There's nothing to tell.
Yes, there is. Do you remember what made you so angry at the world? I said that weird. Okay. Silver glowered at her. If he had the ability to set objects on fire, he'd start with this woman. He would so enjoy watching her run around with her hair on fire. He suppressed a snicker. Oh!
Who's Eusine?
Eusine? Oh, Eusine! I am so sorry. I know I promised, but
Is it a Pokemon god?
But I may just restart writing that erotic gay fanfiction because... Oh, Silva dear. You remind me so much of my main character. Silver stared. What? That was disgusting. He didn't want to think or even begin to think about what this crazy woman was thinking of. The door opened with a click and a rush of air. He was saved! The air conditioners were on in the hospital hallways, it seemed. Crystal quickly jumped up and began smothering kisses over the man who had entered. He was tall, with a carefully yet oddly styled brown hair, and a flamboyant air seemed to hang. No crackle round the eccentric newcomer. He was, in Silver's honest, humble opinion, the perfect partner for Lyra. Crystal. Literally, they were born to be together. Silver wasn't one for romantics, nor was he one for the sappy, cheesy stuff. Romeo and Juliet, for the record, had bored him to tears. But this even, he had to admit, was a match like no other. I feel like Romeo and Juliet, honestly, he would have enjoyed. True. Because they kill each other at the end. Yeah. Or they kill themselves, and
it's not even really romantic. Oh my god, I love you.
I don't think this author actually read Romeo and Juliet. Because...
Maybe.
What man wore bright purple suits with ruffs and frills and a bright red bow tie to match? And were those knickerbockers? Oh, my little Eusine Bean! Chris miss you!
Oh, God.
Silver cringed and looked away. This was so gross. He heard an obscene sucking noise and hastily covered his ears. Yeah, gross.
Same, dude.
Eusine looked down at the redhead in the chair and held out his hand jovially. Silver did not take
so
the
it's the
handshake.
name of the guy, okay.
Handshake and instead stared him down. Slowly, Eugene dropped it, but his smile was still pleasant. But Silver could not see that goddamn pity. There was nothing wrong with him. How are you today, Silver, my good man?
Like my soul has reached the edges of an abyss.
He's so artful.
He even gave a theatrical shudder to get his point across. That's me.
I know.
Crystal, well, Lyra was watching the exchange. He got it right that time, then he corrected it. Was watching the exchange through dewy eyes as she clung to her husband's arm tightly. Eugene. I thought it was Eugene.
Yeah.
That was Eugene,
okay.
I guess.
Whatever.
She said Eugene so many times, but she says Eugene this once.
Okay.
Snorted and let out a full-bellied laugh.
I highly doubt that. If you are wondering, I'm your assigned doctor.
If I am your assigned doctor.
If I'm your assigned doctor, I think you'll be disappointed to find out that the magical, marvelous me isn't available. Please wait for your counselor to arrive. Ha! Speak of the devil. Green, how are you? How are you? How are you?
For Green, I just talk mostly normal.
Well,
but I'm talking mostly normal for Silver, too.
Eugene had only just finished talking when a lean, very handsome, chestnut, brunette-haired man with artfully spiked hair swaggered through the door in a billowing lab coat. Why a lab coat? Silver didn't have a clue. His sharp, feline, bright green eyes were sparkling with life.
Yeah.
He ignored Eugene's proffered handshake, and with a breezy smile written across his attractive young face, he looked down at Silver, who suddenly felt rather drained sitting in his wicker chair. So much energy in the mornings. It was scaring him.
Yeah, for Silver, I've been going kind of deeper than normal. So I guess, normal-ish. Yo, thanks, Eugene. Chris takes the wheel from me.
You are hip and relatable.
What's up, kid? The name is Green Oak, by the way, as my good colleague Eugene was so kind to point out. I'm your counselor. Please call me Green. Green hummed and prodded the redhead with his finger. Aren't you talking to myself?
Yes, you are.
Silver yelped and growled at the brunette threateningly. Green held up his hands in self-defense and took a step back respectfully. Silver shifted. Arm in its cast and sling didn't irritate him more. What?
Okay.
Louder. Green looked mildly amused as she shooed away both Crystal and her husband. The two left without a fuss, despite their otherworldly personalities and appearances. Silver snarled as Green prodded him some more. Don't touch me! Did that hurt? What the hell do you think? Well, it means you're healing. Anyway, meet the rest of your counseling group. They're all absolutely gorgeous people, if I say so myself. What is with Green in this fic?
It's fine.
Green then waved to the door as a pale but beautiful brunette woman whose blue eyes held a deep, aching sadness timidly stepped through. A stocky-built but trim teen with a long, dark fringe that hung over his piercing, eagle-gold eyes. Hey. A small boy with pale hair. He was albino. His pink eyes swiveled about nervously before locking onto Silver himself. And finally, a lanky, wiry young man with dark hair and blood-red eyes entered. That one, I don't know. His slender hands twitching as his scarlet eyes swept with a fierce intensity round the room, noting things with various degrees of interest.
Okay, so you, me.
Sure.
Okay. And then this is Green.
Yeah. Blue Glacium, Gold Hunter, Ruby Norman, and Red Palette.
Oh, I'm red. It's Brendan!
Is Brendan red, or is that like blue?
Yeah, it is.
Are you sure?
Yeah, see, oh, it's Ruby. Never mind. You're Ruby.
It's Brendan!
She's not a Christian!
Green smiled apologetically and pulled up chairs for the rest of the group members to sit down. Blue chose the one nearest to the door. Silver observed with interest. Red simply stood there. His expression was blank, and it looked as if the man was really bored. His hands were still doing that weird twitching thing. The redhead couldn't tell if this was Red's normal expression or not. Sorry about that. Ruby suffers from a kind of emotional instability, and he doesn't know what is real and what is not. My name is Brendan! Get it right! Apologies, Brendan, but your name is Ruby Norman. No! It says on my birth certificate, I'm Brendan!
I love that. That voice is so good. I'm sorry.
The pale-haired boy held out a blank piece of paper. Oh, that's the albino, okay. Green took it and knelt down to pat the boy on the head gently. Silver was surprised at the interaction. Just what sort of relationship did Green have with all of his patients? That's nice, Ruby. That's very nice. Why don't you go sit with Auntie Blue? Silver stared at the four unimpressed. Ruby seemed to settle down at this and went over obediently to Blue, who held out her arms and the albino child clambered onto her lap. So I'm with me and...
You're with you a lot in this fic.
Blinking owlishly at them, all with his pink, ruby-red eyes. Silver scratched his elbow. He couldn't remember the last time he had broken an arm. The cast was itchy. So what are their sob stories? Green clicked his tongue and smiled, pulling out a huge, thick, pink, furry notebook that had a leather flower clasp on the front with a flourish.
Okay, Elle Woods.
He's so flamboyant. I don't know. Noticing Silver's appalled expression, Green took on a slightly defensive tone as he flipped through its equally pink, flowery pages. It was my sister's present to me when I turned 20. Anyway. Blue Glacium. 4 miscarriages, abused and terrorized by her... You can't just tell this to people.
He's doing it.
Doctor-patient confidentiality. Ask her permission or something.
Nope, he's just doing it.
4 miscarriages, abused and terrorized by her previous husband who is now in jail for several years ongoing.
Oh,
Gold
God.
Hunter, anger management issues. Been in juvenile prison more times than I can count. All the hairs on my head. Okay, that was one sentence. I also assume he was, raped, but he refuses to tell me otherwise. What the frick, dude? But it's a bit of a dark family past for him. Red palate, huge social problems. A rather awkward man, as you can see. His hands tend to twitch when he has the urge to fiddle with things. However, he gets quite violent when really upset. Okay. I skipped a line, so I'm like, this doesn't make sense. So, in a sense, he's bipolar. Now, this sounds insensitive that I've already revealed deep issues concerning each one of you, but I don't believe in wishy-washy confidentiality.
You deserve to be fired, Green.
Oh, my eye, it stings.
You straight up deserve to be fired.
Stings.
That doctor-patient confidentiality thing is, like,
kind
super
of important.
Okay.
I believe in rights and the truth, which is why I will be rather blunt at times. Silver was not impressed. Red, with that same strange, bored expression, certainly did twitch awkwardly, his eyes still shifting until Green handed the raven male a clickable pen. Red settled down significantly and began clicking the pen at certain intervals. Silver at first thought it was to the ticking of the clock, until he realized it was every time Green blinked.
Oh, never mind.
Nice. Red would click the pen. Until he realized it was every time Green blinked, Red would click the pen. Okay, that doesn't make sense, but whatever. Silver scoffed and showing his displeasure. Gold stood up, his arms still crossed, but his stance was aggressive, as was his voice, which is a typically deep male voice, and anger laced with distrust and hatred.
Something amusing you, Ginger? Gold sneered, noticing Silver's disgust. The 20-eyed teen continued. What is this poor excuse of an emo? He looks like a heavy metal goth and a green peace hippie got together, and he's their mutant offspring. Green frowned, disapproving at the amber-eyed male. When the teenager didn't respond, Green tutted at Gold instead. Okay. Silver glared at the gold-eyed teen. They were about the same age. He didn't like him already. Not that the insult really affected him, just something about Gold made his skin crawl.
And they're gonna get together.
Tilting his head to one side, Silver widened his eyes slightly and said innocently,
Wait, where are okay. Says the used whore. Oh, God.
Chaos.
Chaos, fine.
I'm sorry.
Blue yelped in fear and hid behind Red, who this whole time had not had a single facial movement, nor had he said a word, but he had stopped clicking the pen. Ruby screamed, "Argh!" and began clawing at the walls, his blunt nails rasping down the pale plaster. Gold leapt at Silver, who only just dodged. Green was nearly as angry as Gold was, as he chased said teen and Silver as the two danced around the room, knocking furniture over and sending items flying.
Used whore! I'll rip your fucking face off, you fucking shit rag!
Oh, God.
Silver laughed as he taunted the raven-haired male. Hit a nerve, had he? Gold was livid. His expression was fierce and dark like an enraged tiger, snarling and lashing out viciously. Silver still evaded. He found this exhilarating. If this is what it felt like to battle death, then he'd totally do it for a living.
Try better than that, Hunter. Gold roared, sounding like a wild animal in all reality, and lunged across the table. Lean, coated muscle rippling with effort, grabbing Silver around the throat. The two collapsed to the ground. Just as he was about to deal a punishing blow, Green grabbed Gold and yanked him off before the stronger teen could do any damage to Silver, who was in a cast and would be for the next several weeks. The two wrestled fiercely, Green slowly backing down, bit by bit, as the younger male dominated him. Nice.
Oh.
In a spurt of pure raw power. That is, until Red stepped in, his expression blank and void. He lifted the two by the scruffs of their neck, hauling them apart. His skinny, lean, muscled arms held a surprising amount of strength. Gold rounded on the red-eyed male, but stilled mid-strike, much to Silver's surprise. Watching the seething male, Silver noted how the amber-eyed teen's nostrils flared and his lips parted slightly in shock. A nagging thought in the back of his mind told Silver that Gold had seen something in Red's expression, or lack thereof, that had prevented him from harming Green and thus Red himself.
Stop.
Toad.
I'm gonna stick with the fix, canon.
Red's voice was quiet, calm,
excuse me.
Oh, yeah.
Stop.
Dang it.
Red's voice was quiet, calm, and completely ice-cold neutral. It was, however, a pleasant baritone, and Silver had found that upon replaying this strange man's voice over and over in his head, he could hear the underlying authoritative note of finality in his voice. Green stood straighter, breathing heavily. He straightened his lab coat and pinned Gold with a disapproved glare. Red picked up his pen and began clicking it again. Green rubbed the bridge of his nose tiredly.
I will not tolerate this kind of behavior, Hunter. Green growled. Gold hissed and shrugged the doctor off and glared malevolently at the red-haired teen.
You'll wish you were dead if I ever catch you. Gold made a sharp, savage, snapping motion with his hands. Oh, wait. Yeah, something like that. Silver smirked and shook his hair out of his eyes. Gold followed the motion with calculating amber eyes, his expression dark and his hands twitching erratically. Red got bored of his pen and threw it away with a clatter.
Feel free. I'm always open to new ideas. Green smacked the suicidal prone teen over the head with his clipboard. His green eyes narrowed from trying hard to keep his temper in check. Red hovered nearby, waiting. Ruby had stopped scratching at the walls and had huddled into Blue's side, cuddling up to the shy woman, his white face drawn into a grimace of fear. Green cleared his throat and picked up his fuzzy notebook slowly. Red had that infuriating pen again. He threw it. Silver swore that clickable pens should be illegal by now. Red twitched slightly as he clicked away. Oh, this is Gold.
Oh. A word of advice from a truly concerned bystander, Giovanni. It's down the street, not across the road. Gold simpered. He smiled sickeningly sweet, his gaze insolent and his smirk rude. Silver contemplated flipping him off, but instead opted to respond.
Like you would know. That's just a myth.
Prove it, Ginger.
Fine, asshole. Do you have something sharp and pointy by any chance?
That's Green.
Green. Don't be stupid, Silver. Gold, can't you shut up for 1 second? Let's be civil now, shall we? Green cut them over them, and despite the happy exterior, his voice held a dark, commanding undertone. Blue sighed and held on to Ruby, quietly stroking his pale hair. Gold made a clicking sound and sat down in Blue's chair. Flinching, the woman edged away and took the seat opposite from the violent teenager, her blue eyes never once leaving his form. Silver had a shrewd feeling she felt like she was to be the next victim of Gold's vicious rage and wanted to keep an eye on him. Pinching the bridge of his nose, Green swept his emerald gaze round the room before flicking through his notebook. His tone was light, but still weighed down with disappointment as he said. Red even stopped clicking his pen to listen. You made Ruby cry, and Blue is about to have a mental breakdown, so let's please act sensibly. Gold, I want to have a word with you after the session. Silver, you can stop smirking. It's Brendan! Ruby whimpered out, sniffling. Blue kissed it off of his head soothingly. I can't do that, because it's myself.
Yeah.
Silver wiped the smirk off his face. Seemed like Green wouldn't tolerate any kind of bullshit, it seemed. Fuck that, Silver mused, propping his chin on the palm of his hand. He stared insolently at Gold across the room. The jet raven-haired teen caught on and returned the intense stare. I thought Gold had brown hair or something.
Whatever.
With mounting dislike. Red stood between their chairs, Pen long forgotten, both his slender hands, now without a single twitch, curled into slight fists. His blood-ruby-red eyes. A lot of descriptors there. Flicking back and forth, his head the whole time not moving an inch. It was a bit unnerving. Green stopped his paper shuffling and looked up to see the tension in the room. He sighed and smacked the notebook down onto his desk. The sound made Blue jump, her lips twisting in worry at the volume. Green's head immediately swiveled over to Silver, who sneered. He started it, Silver grumbled, seething as he pinned Gold with another glare. Green sighed, his brows furrowed as he tried to compile his own jumbled thoughts. Gritting his teeth, the handsome brunette replied in a rather composed, if not snotty, voice. I don't care who started it. Just be mature and act your age. Remember that everyone in here is very sensitive to their own problems. So that you just revealed to everyone in the room.
Seriously.
So shall we start the first group session? I promise it won't take long. Red nodded. Green turned to Ruby, who was now perched on Blue's lap. So, Ruby, how are you today? Oh, God. I was fine until Big Brother attacked that demon! Ruby pointed at Silver, who rolled his eyes and stuck his tongue out, causing the little albino boy to frown dramatically and return to the action. Silver blinked when he saw that even Ruby's tongue was quite pale. And who's Big Brother? Green questioned, pen poised. Ruby pointed to Gold. Green's eyebrows shot up his forehead and his almond-shaped eyes widened. Clearly he was surprised, as was Red, who Silver noted with much interest had grunted in his astonishment. Recovering, Green scribbled down a few notes and questioned some more. Do you think what he did was wrong? Big Brother never does anything wrong! Green blinked. Red placed a hand on the counselor's shoulder. Green looked up at the younger man and nodded. Silver was now very curious to what their relationship was. Red suddenly stepped away and sat down, looking at his hands. Green chewed on the end of his pen thoughtfully. I see.
It's you, still.
Okay. Blue, how are you? Blue smiled shakily and pushed a piece of chocolate brown hair out of her eyes. Silver realized that she had a terrible scar across one side of her temple, where the hair had covered it. Green smiled reassuringly at her, and she responded alike.
You were like a feminine voice, I don't know.
I'm happy today. I realized I'm happier when I have Ruby. Green smiled
really
and cooed at them.
soft.
I know. The microphone's close enough. It'll pick it up.
That's true.
And cooed at them. Ooh. Ruby giggled. Aren't you both adorable? Now Red. Okay then.
Hold on.
Aren't you how are you today? I'm happy. Okay, moving on to the next person.
Sorry.
Red, who had been on and off, interacting and withdrawing throughout the whole drama, looked up from where he was sitting as he was addressed. How was work today?
Good.
Shaking his head at the quiet, single-worded answer and hiding a smile, Green turned to Gold, who still sat on the edge of his chair looking mutinous, chewing his lower lip angrily. So, Gold, today was...
Awesome.
He's just as disturbed as you are, Gold. Calling you both disturbed in front of your faces.
That's fine.
He was angry because you insulted him too, remember? Green attempted to placate Gold, who was gripping the arms of the chair so hard his knuckles were white. Silver could see that Gold, while trim and a bit on the short side, his broad shoulders displayed his power. What? The way the cords stood out in his arms also portrayed Gold was not weak.
I'll break his little skinny neck.
No, you will not, Green assured the jet raven-haired male that he would not be breaking any necks anytime soon. Gold finally sat back into his chair properly, his lips curled into a smile of utmost dislike for the redhead who sat a few feet away.
Just you wait, Silver. Gold glowered, and Silver smiled sweetly and blew him a kiss. Gold's growling only increased in volume. Green snapped his pink hairy notebook shut with a note of finality.
It's hairy notebook?
It's fuzzy, before passing it to Ruby, who chirped in delight and began stroking the furry cover happily. I feel like Ruby's like a small child.
Yeah, small albino person. It said so.
Taking a deep breath, Green seemed like... I think he's like not even 18.
No, he's not. He's a
like,
young child.
Okay. Taking a deep breath, Green seemed to ponder over something before looking at the clock on the wall. A few moments ticked by, and then, while his hands on his hips, he rounded on each member of the group with a startling amount of emotion and ferocity.
Ruby, your problem is that you overreact. You clawed my wallpaper. I will not be so kind to you next time you do it. Okay. You need to learn to stop, okay? It's a very bad habit. Okay, then. He's a terrible therapist.
He's therapy.
Ruby cowered into Blue, who pursed her lips and sent Green a reproachful look. Green continued, his tone like that of a parent giving a lecture, strong, but not without reason. If you want to get better, Ruby, you need to start thinking about how you can change this, understand? You're going to go back to the orphanage today, and you will tell Uncle Birch what happened today, okay?
Holy shit, he's an orphan? My poor child!
The albino boy hid his face. Green leant down. I can't hear you. Okay, Ruby whispered. Green stood straight again, a small smile across his face. His green gaze snapped up to Blue, who flinched. You have no self-esteem. Come on, Blue. I knew you back then. This woman sitting right here in front of me now, a complete stranger. Where are you? Come on, Blue. I need something to work with. I can't help you if you can't help me understand you. Blue shied away, her lower lip trembling. Green lowered his voice. It was gentler now, so much more different from his previous rising. Blue shivered and didn't keep eye contact. Where was the little girl who was so happy to get married? Silver jumped at the smack that rang through the room. Green took a step back. A red mark cut across his cheek. 1 sec.
There. You can smack yourself. Method acting at its finest. Oh, God.
That hurt. A bit solider than I thought. Less noise. Okay. Pain. It didn't actually hurt that much. Anyways, Blue immediately shrank back in on herself, cowering, shielding Ruby as she did so, and her expression blank and fearful. The brunette doctor chuckled, rubbing his sore cheek. Yeah, oh. I'm sorry, Blue. I had to. You understand, right? Oh god, that sounds so abusive.
Yeah, this doctor's, like, abusive to me.
They're not in a relationship like that, but still, it's like it's a relationship. And
whatever.
He's, like, blaming them for hurting their feelings.
Whatever.
Okay, the woman slowly looked up, and her lower lip trembled. Oh, wait. Yeah, that's a gay. Okay, and her lower lip trembled again. Silver realized with a jolt she was frightened, very much so. It was so much testosterone in one room, and she felt at risk. Yeah, why do they have a single abused woman in a room with all these men that are, like, fighting each other, chasing each other around the room?
Because this hospital sucks fucking dick.
Wrestling.
Oh, God. Oh, God. She actually says something, which is...
I'm sorry, Green. Green smiled brilliantly at her, and the effect was instantaneous. All tension from the lady's body melted away, and she slumped in her chair, hugging Ruby to her being as she cried silently. The albino child patted her face clumsily, his pink-red eyes smiling for her instead. Clearing his throat, Green turned to Gold, who was ready for him with a smirk. Well, Gold? Silver suppressed a snort. Whilst Gold was clever, he wasn't as clever as Green, who had also predicted Gold's anticipation. The question had thrown the tawny-eyed male off track. Tilting his head to one side, Gold stared.
What?
Green raised his eyebrows. Oh, that's supposed to be you.
I don't care. Just keep going.
What do you think? Gold scowled.
Nothing.
Exactly, Gold. That's your problem. Your attitude, your manners, even just you as a person overall. It's repulsive. You don't let anyone in, but you don't let them get away either. You used to be a normal kid who loved his younger brothers, right? Gold's face was a picture of anger and sadness. Silver didn't know which one was stronger. Green pressed on. Right, Gold? You did, didn't you?
Yes, I did, okay? Shut the fuck up now. Just stop looking into my life. Ah, Jesus! Gold clenched his hands into fists as he struggled to express himself. Green didn't say anything, but instead moved on to Red, who stood silently, his eyes downcast, his lips drawn into a thin, solid line.
I think you know what I think of you right now, Red. The black-haired man nodded and held out the pen, which Green took. Red curled his hands round his biceps, his fingers twitching slightly. Green sighed and turned to Silver, who waited, unsure of what Green was going to tell him. He was, however, surprised yet again by the doctor. Tired? Silver, mute, nodded. Green rolled his shoulders and shrugged off his lab coat to reveal the black-collared button-up shirt he wore underneath. The verdant-eyed man stared down at his patients. I'm so disappointed. Okay. Terrible doctor. You may all leave now except Gold and Silver. Blue nodded and stood up, Ruby clutching her hand as they left the room. Crystal, who was waiting outside, ushered them away. Her previous bright, bubbly attitude from before was gone, and suggested to Silver that the turquoise-haired woman had overheard the last few minutes of their session. Red, strangely enough, stayed behind, hovering near Green, who was packing up his case. Gold stood, his expression no longer aggressive, but one of a contemplative contemplative. Sadness. Silver stood next to him awkwardly. Green finished and turned to them both. I want you to apologize to each other, and that is the end of the chapter.
We finished chapter 1!
It's like an hour and a half in.
Oh, this is so good. I'm gonna tell you guys right now, Pokey Cookie, I'm sorry. I like this fic. I've decided that I'm going to make sure we read this all the way through. It might take us a long time, but we will get through this. I really enjoy this. Because this video is already ridiculously long, I'm just gonna say thanks for tuning in, guys. Thanks for sticking with us. If you like the video, be sure to give it a like.
It's interesting.
Subscribe if you haven't already, because we have awesome new content coming out every week. And, yeah, if you have a fic suggestion, please leave it down below. We will read it after we finish this one, because this is gonna take a long, long time, but that's fine. And, yeah, until then...
Or if it's, like, short, we could stick it in as one of those smaller chapters.
That's true.
The breaks.
That's true. But yeah, until next time, stay awesome, read more smut. Toodaloo. Okay.